talked about the idea, the awareness of the fact that your soul is absolutely, totally at peace. Da da la dee 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 da doo dee dee da. That's the theme song, I suppose. I don't know what that song comes from, and it turns out that that's not a nice theme song of a nice piece of music. Just please listen to the notes and never mind where the song came from, because I have no idea where it came from. But that's the feeling of the soul. La da dee dee da. Just happily at peace, contented, belonging. And so, if you're sold on this, remember, I can't get you. I can't cause your soul to appear. Jesus couldn't do that either with you. Jesus told you that the way you're going to get it is that I'm going to send the Holy Spirit to you, the Comforter to you, which will be able to do these things. And that's when Pentecost occurred, that people suddenly became aware of their soul, a very different beingness. And if you remember, 50 days before the Pentecost, they ran away when Jesus got arrested. They weren't in their soul. But when they got hit by their soul at Pentecost, what did they all do? Every single one of them went out into the world to go ahead and teach other people about how to find this precious being that is within inside themselves. And every one got martyred. History says that one of them didn't. I think history says that John didn't get martyred, but all the others got martyred. Quite different, isn't it, from running away when Jesus got arrested? Two mindsets, right? When he got arrested, they were still in their human mindset, panicked despite the fact they were there for 3 years with Jesus, day in, day out, 24/7 for 3 years, and they panicked. Couldn't do it. And at Pentecost, they get hit by the Spirit. The sound of a mighty wind filled the room, and tongues of flames went out and touched them, and they fell to the ground talking in foreign languages. And the people who saw this said, how can they be talking all those languages from where we are? One is from Asia, I suppose. All the Jews were called together at that time because Rome was doing a census. And they hear these guys who are just from Galilee. I mean, they haven't been to graduate school. They just know whatever English was in these days. At any rate, all they know is their local language, and the people are scratching, how could they do that? Well, they were in their soul, and the soul knows everything. The soul is oneness with God. Nothing interfering between the connection. And so they're talking foreign languages because the soul knows everything that is to be known and can recall anything that God is going to enable the soul to recall. So, the soul is at such peace that they didn't care about what was going to happen to them because they knew. And out they go in order to spread the word on how to find peace. So, how to find peace. Number one, I can't give it to you. Wish I could. Sorry, I can't. Haven't got the power. It only comes to you because God has made you ready to be able to receive it. That's the only way you're going to get aware of the fact that your soul exists and what its quality is. And if you say, well, okay, yeah, okay, I'm ready to tell me how to do it. Let me tell you the good news. Number one, you're going to make it. It's going to happen. Number one, it's going to happen. You're going to make it. Well, how do you know that, Bob? You're saying that to me, but how do you know that? Because the only thing that you need, the only thing that you need to do is to desire that this should happen. That, oh man, oh that would be great if I could have that happen. Oh boy, lovely. You said, you did your job, stop, cease, go no further. You did your job. The only thing you need is to have a yearning, a desire. Oh man, oh that sounds so great. Oh, I wish I stop. You did your job. Oh, but I ought to do more, Bob. No, 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 no. Because it's delivered to you. Your human mind, which is very, very different from your soul mind, your human mind is going to oppose what you're doing. And so you're going to start to think, oh man, I like it. Okay, soul, I want you to appear. Ta-da, ta-da, hokey pokey, mini-okey. And no, not going to happen. Doesn't happen because you're in your human mind. And when you're in your soul mind, the human mind is gone. The soul mind exists in its entity. Now, by gone, you don't drop dead. that nothing like that goes on. But when I say that it's gone, your consciousness, your awareness is that of the soul. And God delivers this to you at the right point. All you need to do is simply want to be able to have something like that happen. Now, to go a little further on that, sometimes the times when we want that to happen is because we're in difficulty with ourselves. We're upset, we're stressed, and we know things aren't working out, and you might not even know to say, Lord, I want my soul. Don't have to. The fact that you're simply willing, you're wishing, you're hoping that there is something different than what you are experiencing at that moment is enough. That's enough in order to give God room to be able to do the experiences with you that need to be done. Now, does that mean, for instance, that every one of us goes out of our body and sees these things? Because mine were out-of-body experiences. The answer is no. There are all kinds of ways that a soul can come to you, or the awareness of the presence of the soul. It can even be in the midst of a prayer that you suddenly notice, hey, I was aggravated a moment ago, and I'm not aggravated now. Obviously so, because you were led by God into the consciousness of your soul where there's peace. That's all there is when you're in that. And so it can happen in all different kinds of ways. But your wish, your desire, your hope is enough. You have opened yourself up to permit God to do something with you. Why is it important? Because God never opposes you. He's not an opposition force. Doesn't do that. God lets you carry on with yourself as you wish for a very simple reason. Because you can't change that soul of yours. Your soul is always your soul. You haven't got the ability to destroy it, mangle it, twist it, turn it. You haven't got the ability to do anything of your soul. Your human mind and in its existence is totally different from that soul mind and can't touch it with that proverbial 10-foot pole. Can't do it because God has the greater power, and what He creates you can't change. He gives you the privilege to imagine you can. Well, I don't want to be a soul. I want to be Napoleon. I want to be the President of the United States, and come soul, make it. You can't. It's all imaginings. It's all imaginings. You can't change how God made you. You simply can fantasize, imagine, think about whatever it is that you want for yourself to be, but your soul stays the same. It's always there. You can't touch it. And so the soul just waits for you. That's all that the soul does. It just waits, sits there, and lets you go ahead and desire to be whatever it is that you feel you want to be. But at the point of crisis, sometimes we call it crash and burn. One of our panel members on a radio program used that phrase, crash and burn. Another phrase is you hit bottom. That just that simple of hitting a bottom, of crashing and burning, that you can't go further, is enough for God to actually begin to work on you. That's enough, because you're not in an interfering state at that point. You are just in a state where you're hoping, and the hope is enough. The hope is enough. The wish can come after it. The faith later on and the knowledge later on can all come later. But you've done your job simply, oh, is there any answer? Is there any answer? You might even know the joke about the man that climbs up to the top of a mountain, and climbing up there, all of a sudden he falls off. And he's plunging to a certain death, and there's a branch from a tree that's coming out from the side of the mountain, and the guy grabs it and is holding on for dear life. And he's got a second chance here, but he's looking down and he's recognizing, man, I haven't got much of a chance here, getting weaker and weaker. And only at that point does it dawn on him to say, is there anybody there? And he hears the voice. Crash and burn, he hears the voice, the desperation moment. Here I am, and I've been waiting for you to call on me. And I want to encourage you, just let go. let me handle it, just let go. And he looks down and he looks up and he says, is there anybody else there? That's the story of the human body. Even with crashing and burning, it still is afraid to let go. However, God has got it paced and timed that you're going to be able to receive the soul very, very gently, very carefully. He never exceeds you. He doesn't show you something that he hasn't prepared you for, so that it's a wonderful thing to see. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's something that's a plus. It's not a negative. It's not something that you lose. It's something that you're going to gain. And so that's as far as we'll go at this point. You will be able to experience your soul because you're giving God the chance to let him show you you're not in opposition. And then the timing of it comes. He knows how to get you a little more. He knows how to nudge you once again, a little push from here and a little over there. And God gets you to be able to experience your soul more and 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 more. He's very skilled at it. Don't worry about it. Must have taken graduate courses or something on helping you. Take care.